How's it going, everybody? This is RONIN47R, and today we're doing a review on the Pz.Kpfw B2 It's a very special tank for many reasons, but one of the reasons it's very special is because this is the first time World of Tanks Xbox Edition has ever seen this tank. Now, I know I often say that when I do a review, that this tank is special and for many reasons. Well, again, a lot of my reviews are revolving around premiums, and with premiums there are special circumstances and special things about them. So it really comes into play when I'm talking about this tank because, for one thing, not only is it making its debut, and not only is it a hybrid, a combination of a French and German acquisition, but it's also a tank that has special matchmaking. I know you're saying that, well, most premiums have special matchmaking, and that's true. However, this particular tank has what I call special squared matchmaking. It is special matchmaking. All right, I know I'm sounding crazy. What am I talking about? Well, this particular tank has matchmaking, and I believe only one other tank in World of Tanks for Xbox Edition has that same type of matchmaking, and that is where instead of seeing just one tier above you, you only see your own tier. You are guaranteed to be, in this particular tank, a top tier tank. That's right, you heard me correctly. Every time you play this, you're only going to see tier 4 tanks and lower. Now, hold your horses, because I think if you're like me, when you first heard about this, you're very excited because you think you're going to be able to troll everybody. Well, before we go down that road, we're going to have to talk about the characteristics of this tank, its pros, its cons, how to use it, how not to use it, and so on. Alright, well, before we get into the individual characteristics of this particular tank, I just want you to note that there are 3 tanks down below that I've set up for us to take a look at. They're all tier 4, and they're all heavy tanks. On the far left is the DW2, which is the first heavy tank of the German line, at least for this particular line. And then the next tank is the actual B2, the one we're doing the review on. And then on the right is the French heavy tank for tier 4, the B1. The reason why I selected these tanks, one is being that you are going to go up against these tanks, and two, the B1 and the B2 are relatives of each other because, well, for all intents and purposes, they're the same tank. At least the hull is, and at least cosmetically. Because what happened in history is that the Germans captured the B1 and they branded it, or rebranded it, as the B2. So I'm just trying to get a feel for this tank. I've never driven this tank before, played with this tank before, and so I'm pretty excited to kind of poke around and see the statistics, the details of this tank. One of the things that does jump out at me, though, about this tank is that it's the same gun, or has the same gun, as a Tier 3 premium German tank also in this game. But more on that in a different video. So now I'm continuing to get my feel for the competition for this tank. It's going to be going up against, again, tier 4 as its highest tier. And you've got the French heavy B1. This is the highest package. Very similar gun. You're looking at over 28 rounds, per minute. 66 and 55 for the pen and the damage. Looking at its competition from the German side, the DW2, you can see this guy's gun is the 5cm. Again, looking at the highest package only for this comparison. The 5cm quick 39L/60, 25 rounds per minute, 67 pen, 70 damage. Very similar. Well, now that you've taken a look at the guns that you're competing against, well, makes me want to think about what am I going to be trying to penetrate? What am I going to try to have to get through to do damage? So now thinking about the armor aspect of the DW2, it's 50s all around for the hull, and it looks like it's the 50s for the turret. Then you're looking at the B1, you're in the 60s for the hull, 55 in the rear. And as far as the turret goes for the B1, well, you're looking in the 40s. The B2 itself, same hull as the B1, but this is a tier 2 turret. I think that it's going to really come down to, since the numbers are similar, not the same, but similar, it's going to come down to the technology behind the armor. What I mean is, we're looking at that stage where it's very flat for the armor for everybody, all 3 of these, but some are a little more slanted, a little more angled, a little more curved than others, and that's where it's going to be a little bit of an edge or a little bit of a difference between the tanks. So the numbers say one thing on paper, absolutely true, but you're going to be above, below, what angle, there's going to be so many variables that are going to affect your ability to penetrate your opposition. And in addition to that, there's going to be a lot of factors that are going to allow or not allow your opposition to penetrate you. So as you can see here in the background, I've been adding some camouflage and the emblems and that sort of thing. Now I'm jumping over to the consumables, and as you can see here, it does allow you to carry 112 shells. They are not very powerful shells as far as damage is concerned, or let alone penetration. You are using a tier 2 gun, don't forget that. And you are going to be going up against some pretty well armored, considering the tier 4 heavy tanks and below. So this particular tank, I'm going to predict that I'm going to need a good handful of premium rounds, although so that I can get good credit scores, good silver in return for my work, I'm going to try my best not to use those premium rounds. I fleshed out the rest of the consumables with my standard setup of extinguishers and first aid kits, repairs, and whatnot, all keeping it on the basic levels. And then again, as you saw me earlier, I just got this tank, so I'm really trying to organize my crews and get everything ready and to rock and roll and take this thing for a spin. All right, and you know me, I can't get away without throwing some tidbit of history into here. So, as you may have read before or heard, it's about 400-ish of these tanks were put forth by Germany. But because of the type of tank they were, the technology, they're not a frontline tank. They were used for training purposes and, second line, behind the line things. So if reality is a prediction of how this game is going to play, I got to really rethink or prepare myself to think, how am I going to use this tank, especially for the first time, in the game of World of Tanks? Now you can also still see me messing around with the crews and whatnot, and I'm grabbing my first German heavy tank line crew member, and I say first meaning the first original heavy tank line that originally came out for us. And he has a decent amount of skills and whatnot, and as usual I want to use a crew member that has a good handful of skills so that we have a chance to look at the tank itself and not be handicapped, hampered, or otherwise distracted by a less than good crew. Now I'm looking in the background here, you can see I'm looking through the equipment choices. Again, this isn't a usual tank for me. How am I going to play this thing? My default, sure, I'll grab good old vents, +5 to the skills. But now I'm really scratching my head. I mean, I know this view range is about 330. And I know that everybody else is 330. That's... What can I do to get an edge in this game? I'm not going with spall liner. There is no gun rammer. The reload on this thing is already excellent. The aim time on this thing is already excellent. So what can I do? I actually left the space open. Went with something easy, non-committal. I grabbed the binoculars because, hey, at least I can see what's going on from afar and figure out how to approach a situation. And then, of course, went with the for sure aspect of the vents. Now, for kicks, I was also curious to take a look at the other German tank that they acquired from France, which in this case is the Tier 3 Premium S35. And when I look at those two side by side, I mean, I know they're different classes, medium versus heavy and Tier 3 versus Tier 4, but as I gulp loudly, again, the same gun used in the Tier 3 tank is used in this Tier 4 tank. Same pen, same damage, same everything. It's a Tier 2 level gun. And I'm going to have to figure out how to use this thing effectively. Okay, we've quickly looked at all the details from the 3 tanks and even took a look at the Tier 3 medium for kicks. But now I want to focus on the main objective, and that is really looking at the Tier 4 Panzer B2. And I need to understand what it is my tool can do and what my tool can't do. Because if I go out into battle and I ask it to do something that it's not really built for, it's going to cost me. So I want to make sure my head's on straight, and I'm really taking a look very quickly at what this tank is about. The first thing that jumps at me is down below where the turret is, and it's a tier 2 turret. The armor is at 46 all the way around, so that means that compared to the hull, I don't want to go hull down. I don't want to rely on my turret being the only thing exposed and me exchanging shots with someone. I want them to shoot me in the hull, not the turret, if I have a choice between the two. The turret's traverse is 44 degrees, which is very fast, and I'm going to keep that in mind. Looking at the view range of the turret, it has a nice rating of 330. Some of the tanks in this tier, you're looking at 300, 330. So we're right there where we should be. Throw on those binoculars, and now you're into the the beginnings of the 400 meter range, and that might be enough to give you an edge in battle. Time will tell. Looking at the treads, the traverse speed is 45 degrees, which is extremely fast, especially for a heavy class tank. Kind of moves like a medium, at least on paper. That's going to come in handy when we're side scraping, dancing around, changing position, doing what we need to do to try to get into or out of a situation. Now, what helps you get in and out of situations is also the speed. Now, this particular tank has an average stated speed of 30 kilometers per hour. However, I have seen it go a little faster than that during my tests, during my gameplay for this review. The last thing, of course, is the gun, which of course we've talked about. The aim time, the reload time is going to be excellent, but I'm still thinking in the back of my mind, what am I going to fill that last equipment piece? Because I may end up going with something that's going to affect the gun. After a few battles, I'm going to change out the equipment and figure out what works best. After I go ahead and show you some scenes from the various battles that I've done, some full regame plays and discuss those, then you can decide for yourself whether this German acquisition, as they put it, is worth your 2,200 gold for the package of not only the tank, which is valued at 1,250, but also the 100% trained crew, the garage slot, 3 days of premium, and the various bits of consumables. Before we jump off into battle, I'm going to go ahead and show you some scenes where it was less than stellar performance on my part. I made some mistakes, and then we're going to creep up into some other longer pieces from games, and then eventually I'm going to go ahead and show you some full games that I felt were worthy of your time. Here we are in airfield, and I'm going after this tank destroyer. I have a teammate on my left, another tank destroyer, who is going to be taken out by that Valentine AT. The mistake I made here is not using the right ammunition, not shooting in the right location, but also too, I'm losing track of my surroundings, and another tank destroyer was able to sneak up behind me and take me out. Now on this next map here, Ensk, you can see here I get really fixated on this this tier 4 Japanese medium, and I just wanted to take this thing out so badly. And I also just thought that maybe somebody was going to take care of the tank to my left, but I waited too long, and this martyr, this tank destroyer, ended up turning me into a martyr, so that was no good. I chose this scene to share with you because it was really interesting to see these Panzer Cs going in this group, going after me here, and they did a little bit of damage, but not much. They can damage you, but it was just interesting to see how a lot of the fire was bouncing off of me, and eventually they're taken out by my team. Notice the average damage that I'm doing is about the 50s, the high 40s to the low 50s. Now in this particular scene, there is the Pontiac Pat is a farmer, a fellow farmer, and didn't even recognize him at the time. But he's using the same tank that I'm using, and there is his buddy behind him, I believe it was a B1, and then to my left, out of sight, over the hill, is another guy shooting at me. And then below, behind me, is a tank over there by the village, and one of my mistakes here was not switching over to premium quick enough, for one. The second is I was kind of dilly-dallying and checking things out, and I ended up not supporting a heavy that went off by himself to the north very quickly. He got taken out, and I got stuck by myself dealing with these 4 guys, and Pontiac Pat ended up putting me out of my misery. So good for you, buddy. You can see I'm mashing buttons so much that I went to the wrong screen and then came back here. So even though that particular battle ended in a defeat, I was just going to share with you that you know, you're still making some money. Just kind of starting to give you a feel for how the games end up, where you're going to place. But again, this tank is brand new. It's a special matchmaking, so there's a lot of oddities that I really can't predict for the future, time of the day or night that it was being played. And again, you know, having matchmaking trying to stick you into a tier 4 game. Now I'm just kind of throwing at you some, but not all, of the 11 games, some of the endings, just showing you some stats that you can pick through at your leisure, just to kind of get a feel for what's out there, what's going to happen as you play this game. Kind of a mistake here. Look at this. I stop here because that's what I want to do. You know, I want to stop here with a tier 2 gun and attempt to snipe a Matilda. Didn't work out so well. So took 2 hits right off. Fast forwarding to another scene here, same map here, Pacific Island, same round. So now I'm trying to work on this Matilda, and look at this, it's yellow. I'm getting a whole bunch of nothing, and I'm stubborn, so I switched over to AP to try to work on this Matilda. This TD pops up. I didn't want to waste time, so I'm using the premium on that TD. But look at this, only some of the premium rounds are even going through the Matilda. So this tank is going to train you how to shoot the correct locations of tanks and how to believe in crossing your fingers and luck, because it is really, really challenging to pen. Now you have a DW2, one of your nemesises for the tier 4. See, he's angling well, so good job on this guy here. Caught fire on the engine. Trying to go for the weak spots on this guy, and I'm also trying to test things out too. You know, what works with this gun. Good job. This tank destroyer did an excellent job. This T-40 swung around and to pock me from behind because I was harassing the guys on the hill. This was a kind of a funny scene. I just same round. I died obviously, but I was following this Matilda driver. Good job on him. And this Valentine too got stuck in between the cliff and the bunker there, and so he just had to be put out of his misery. It was down to this last light tank and an artillery, and this Matilda was able to pop him there. Now the last bit of the game here, he is capping, and it's a good move because the artillery hopefully is, he's either going to win by capping, or the artillery is going to say, you know where he is and try to put him out. Now watch the artillery. Look at the gun. Look at the gun. He's like, where is he? And then the Matilda puts him out of his misery. So really good game for this Matilda driver. Good job. Good on him. So looking at the end results of that particular game, where I got killed by the T-40, made some decent silver in experience. There were some pretty good results. But remember, everyone, that as you are going low on the tiers or high on the tiers, it doesn't matter. You make more or less silver, even with the same performance. So I mean, let's say you do just as well at tier 8 and you do just as well at tier 4. I mean, your silver income is a lot different. So my only opportunities is putting damage on tier 4s and lower, whereas when you're playing other tanks, you're able to get some bonuses when they calculate the silver, because you're putting damage on higher tier tanks than yourself. But just throwing in some scenes, like I said, from one of some of the 11 games that I played, so you can just kind of get an idea of what can occur here. I tried, not that I use it a lot, but I tried putting on the camouflage net. I had the binoculars on there. Always left the vents on. And now we're moving into some full games here, and this is an encounter battle on Pacific Island. So hopefully I've learned my lesson, and I'm not going to do what I did last time and get hit by the Matilda and everybody else on that hill. Now you can actually get some extended looks at how this tank performs. One of the things I really like about this tank is you can really see how almost like it's pivoting on ice. I mean, the traverse of the treads is crazy. I'll try to get a little silly and see if I can use some momentum, see how much this guy can four-wheel drive, but not so much on that rock. So I'm going to cruise along and try to get into battle. Pretty rough terrain, 21, 22 kilometers per hour. Now already you can see some of the greens are trying to cap. So the pressure's on the reds there. On this particular map, I like to go where that DW2 was. I also like to go in the direction I'm going now, and I was a little concerned about possible enemy sniping at me from the left, but luckily it was clear. Now watch this. I bounce off of the Stuart. That made me really sad. But he got taken out by our M3 Stuart, so that's good. Now my first real opportunity to get into battle is right around the corner here. I'm fresh and I'm a heavy, so the light lets me take a chance, and I'm pinning, so I'm feeling pretty good. And I got another, so it looks like it's 50-50 on the pinning and the bouncing. Oh, I forgot to mention, this was my first game. It's not the first game I'm showing you, but this was the first game that I played after purchasing this tank last night. Whatever that's worth. I'm getting oranges on the reticle, and but I'm doing a lot of bouncing, so I'm not too surprised because I wasn't really holding my breath, but I was curious to see how this was going to play out on its own. But again, same tier 4. Trying to track so he cannot go anywhere, but I am trying all these different locations to see what will work. He's got a good angle on me, so that's good for him, but you know, sometimes right next to the mantlet you get lucky. Commander's hatch, so you know, I feel sorry for the drivers of the B2 here. It's not exactly a trolling machine like you would think, being top tier. Of course, that's probably why they set it up that way. Eventually, I was able to take him out, and you can see that so far in the game, I've only had 6 penetrating, damaging shots, and I can't tell you how many shots I've fired, but it's been a ton. So it's almost like throwing mud at the wall and hoping some is going to stick. You are going to have to use your machine gun, you know, air quotes here, your machine gun, tank gun here to try to damage the enemy. So you have this another tier 4. Got the M3 Lee here, and he is just laughing at all of my bounces because I can't do anything to this guy. It's a pretty even match so far as who's alive and who is not, and I'm trying to hope that the precision on this gun will just get around the corner because I'm trying to reveal as little of myself as possible. But got a few bounces, so that's good. You can side scrape with this tank fairly well when it comes to the hull, so that is a plus. And I do like its maneuverability. That is another plus. My job, of course, is to figure out how to become better at this tank. And there I go. I'm finding that little hatch. And you'll also notice that I'm using premium. Something you're going to be doing a lot in this tank. I don't promote spamming it. I mean, you know, do whatever you want. But for me, I don't promote doing it because my whole point is to try to earn silver and whatnot. Now, if I just, you know, have money to burn, then okay, there's no reason not to. But you know, I want to come away with some sort of profit, and with every shot you fire, assuming you are purchasing it with silver and not gold, it's going to cost you 800 silver. So it's a lot of rounds. It's a lot of silver to be spending for the barrel of that gun. Something to kind of look at is the potential that the accuracy has on this gun. Again, not a tank destroyer, you know, by any means, with its accuracy, but it's not too bad, you know. You know, for this tier and for this tank, firing so quickly and the reload and the aim time, I was impressed with how fast I can get everything done, the reload and the getting the aim all the way shrunk down, and still be on target, considering. Okay, 90-degree angle on the hull and a big fat bounce. Notice the extremely exposed turret ring. So if you can get into the turret ring, Good on you. And of course the turret, which only has 46. So that guy is down. Like I said, you don't want to go hull down with this tank. And I was using regular rounds if I saw it correctly. Alright, well now we're just cruising along here. Trying to get all the way over to Mr. Artillery. And I am not really paying attention all that much, and at the same time just kind of checking things out. To be honest with you, I really did not think I'm going to be able to get over to the artillery before the rest of the sharks, you know, who are smelling the blood in the water, take this guy out. So I wasn't in that much of a hurry. But the artillery took out one of the greens. I'm kind of surprised, but that's okay because the tank destroyer up there, he'll take out the artillery, but I'm just going to head in the direction just in case. So I'm just you know, motivating the guys, hey, let's attack, you know, and trying to look at the speeds and the various terrain and just enjoying the scene. It's, you know, it's nice to be on a Pacific island on vacation. Good times. And there it goes. He's going to finish off this artillery any second. Watching him with my X-ray vision through the hill there. I really like how the traverse, look at that, it's nice. Gotta stay positive here. Hey, wait a minute. Wasn't a tank destroyer on our team going to take out that artillery? Well, apparently the artillery, who is doing awesome at not letting people take him down, he is going down with a fight. So I'm thinking he's going to swing around this hill. Now we have to play serious because he doesn't want to die. He is, you know, he didn't get the script where he was actually supposed to die already by now. So I have to go over there and remind him that he needs to go down. And I thought he'd be swinging around, so I started side scraping, but so I didn't want to get a face full. But apparently he's going over the top. Good for him. And right up the exhaust pipe. So that was the game, and that was a pretty good ending for my very first round in this brand new tank. I was pretty happy with it. So I'm wringing my hands together in excitement to see what's going to, you know, happen here when I get paid for this hard work. And you know, you got some sharpshooters and master gunner. Look at that, ace tanker. Yeah, we're surprised, right? It's been out for a couple hours. Steel walls. Okay. So it looks like I put down 4 tanks out of their misery, and then I was able to damage the enemy 24 times, resulting in, what, 32,500 silver. The raw experience was almost 19. So kind of goes back, oh my gosh, look at that. Shots fired, 60. Direct hits, 51. So good on me, but yet penetrating 26. So you're looking at, you know, rough number. Don't trust my math. I've made mistakes in the past, but that's less than 50% of my shots being fired are penning, you know. So that's tough. There's the opposition side there, just so you can see it, but not bad at all. I hear a lot of people call this this level, this tier, these types of tanks, what have you. You know, these are the stress relief tanks, and what I take that to mean is, you know, they can be a lot of fun. You're not going to sit there and try to use these tanks. I mean, you could, but I mean, I don't think this is going to be your main source of premium tank silver income. I don't think this is going to be your main source of crew training. Again, you could use it for that, absolutely. But, you know, for the price, I think it could be a lot of fun. I also believe in, you know, going back to my TOG video, I believe that premiums, when they are nerfed, handicapped in some way, shape, or form, not as powerful as the non-premiums, well, in order to compensate for that, you have to do something, and that something is called increasing your skill. So with that mentality, I believe that premium tanks serve the purpose of not just training the crew, you know, they train you. This tank, as an example, if you do not want to waste your time, even with premium, you need to hit tanks in the correct location at the correct time. And what I mean by that is, you really need to be, this is going to teach you, it's going to force you, it's like kind of Darwinistically, you know, teaching you, sink or swim. Understand how you use your armor in defense, you know, angling it, and how the enemy uses their armor angling in defense, and know when to shoot, where to shoot, because that's how you are going to excel or do well in this game, and not waste your time, you know, with this tank. Also, I wanted to point out that it was pretty cool. You know, I'm getting sappy here, so you know, get me a tissue, but. It's just nice, you know, when you're playing with folks, especially randoms, and I don't, you know this guy from Adam, but I just like when people play a team game, wait for it, like a team, you know, and actually communicate. And I wasn't doing, you know, I wasn't using the voice headsets or anything. I was just using the, you know, the signals, the communication. I'm not tired at all. The communication in the game, and it's just cool that we were working together. I like that. So here I am from far away, trying to pin this this bad boy with this kick butt tier 2 gun. And again, it's the angle. I mean, it's a lot of things, but that angle he was angled away, so I'm trying to compensate that, and then he was so far away, so I'm trying to compensate that. But I think I only got one pen on that particular exchange. So now I'm coming up and over this hill. Now I see just the tip of that Martyr 2, just the top sliver over the top. And I'm thinking if I can get closer, climb this hill, up, bad angle. Oh, you're killing me. I'm like thinking this guy's going to get away. I want to put some shots down range. Someone else is going to kill him. Oh my God, that was just so excruciating. So I'm trying to get some height on the enemy here. Oh, goody. Look at this, huh? I love taking some cheap shots at people because, you know, they would do the same for you. So it's just, it's all in love. There you go. One of the things that I've noticed with this particular gun that just reminded me is that the shell speed in flight is a wee bit slower than I'm used to, or whatever. It's not registering in my head, so I have to plan to lead the target at distance a lot more than I'm just currently used to for whatever reason. Maybe I'm playing some other tank, you know, prior to this or whatever, I don't know. But you definitely have to lead your target. I mean, look at the travel time, and it even has an arc that's visible. I mean, so he just moves just a little bit and he is out of my way because I can't compensate for getting the shell lobbed over onto his commander hatch at that distance. But our team's doing really well. Now the enemy's down to 3, and I'm pretty happy with you know, the speed on this tank. And by that I mean, as I've said before in other videos, where, you know, some tanks, you know, forget the number, it just it feels, it's the perspective. You feel as though they are going faster than they are, or you feel that they are going slower than they are, you know, regardless of the number. And this one, and I think I'm going to blame it, that's a positive, on the traverse. It feels faster, looser, more nimble than the numbers of the speed would first indicate, at least to me. So now we're down just to one guy. This is always funny, though. It always makes me kind of laugh. It's that blood in the water. It's the last guy. You know, people just go chasing this thing, you know. Alright, so who's putting up a fight? And lo and behold, it is a tier 4 Valentine 2, which is the Russian premium. And that particular premium, ladies and gentlemen, is the other premium that gets special matchmaking, just like the Panzer B2. And that was fun. I'm not gonna lie, I liked getting that that last shot in, and then I was bulldozing him, you know, showing off the strength of this huge tank. So good times there. But in all seriousness, not bad. You know, it's a tier 4. You're not going to see Jagdtiger, you know, 8.8 type of income, my friends. This is going to be, you know, look at this, almost 25,000. Second place on the XP. So put my work in. That T2 Light did a great job getting some business done there as well. So good stuff. Alright, so this, I believe, is the pinnacle, the last video game replay to share with you. It is taking place here in a snowy environment, so I have my very snazzy camouflage on there. Love it a lot. It's pretty cool looking. I'm heading over all the way to the south. I like how this map has changed, where you can now cross the water in certain areas and not rely just on the bridge, and I was going to take advantage of that. So I was heading in that direction. The two lights, though, took the bridge, and thankfully these light tankers were actually doing their job and scouting. Very rarely do I see people doing that for some reason, so it was actually going according to the plan that we never worked on together. Also, my twin joined me over here, so I felt like we had a pretty good front going towards the enemy here on the south end. So instead of going to the far south, I went ahead and changed direction here, since things were going in a positive way. Didn't have to solo recon. And now look at those lights. They're telling me, just by default, because the map's not lighting up, we are all clear. I mean, it is ridiculous clear in the southeast corner. We just have that one medium and now a TD over by those two homes, buildings, on that famous hill that overlooks the red flag. So now I'm trying to pedal as fast as I can to get clear so that I can take a shot. Alright, so we took out that medium. And now we have the Hetzer. Much respect to the Hetzer. Tier 4, it's a special tier. Tier 4s, it's adolescence. I don't know. It's going from a kid to a teenager or something, because there are tanks in this tier that are ridiculously strong, whether it's defensively or offensively. But as a tier 4, you're playing against a bunch of tanks, a normal tier 4, that you know, can be preyed upon quite easily. So tier 4 is a strangely unique tier, in my opinion, and I'm probably sounding pretty, you know, weird right now, but if I can convey that, you know, it's to me it's a world of its own. And now you're playing the you know, the B2, and it's like even more of a world of its own, because you literally aren't just a tier 4 that sees 4 through 6. Now you're a tier 4 that just sees tier 4. But there are some really unique personalities in tier 4, such as the Hetzer, that really stands out for me. That just it is no joke. You cannot assume anything with a Hetzer. Their armor is really cool. I mean, not that it's impressive that my tier 2 is bouncing off of it, but you know, it's a pretty darn good tank. I'll run that thing all day long. But you get dirked by a Hetzer, and you know, back to the garage ASAP for you. But look at the bounces on this thing. I'm trying all the little ports, the Lord Glacius. I'm trying, you know, this, that, the other. I'm picking up, you know, a handful of sand and I'm throwing it at them. Nothing's working. So I've got my feelings hurt and I'm going backwards. And and it doesn't help that, of course, I'm by myself now in the in the southeast, because the other B2 is dead and the two lights are no more. But I shouldn't panic yet, because not only is there a Hetzer there, but hey, is that the extremely, for the tier, well-armored Valentine 2 as well? That's really close to me. And yeah, so great. And he's angled at me. Look at this bounce. Oh, he penetrated on that one. Yay. But turret ring. Yay. Or maybe that's just turret, but I'm trying. And at this point, I just said, you know what? I'm just gonna try to outgun this guy with my reload, because I wasn't gonna go back and forth and lose a sure thing on the shot, especially with I knew these guys were gonna get positions on me. So at least I can get one kill before they kill me, right? So here comes this French TD. Ooh, he bumps me. How dare you? I got a little damage on him coming up and over that hill. I was counting on that lack of gun depression on his part. And luckily a friend of mine, well, when I say friend, I mean Green, you know, fellow Green, gets a shot on him. Awesome. Now I love, that's hilarious. Thank you for ramming a heavy tank, you TD, with low health. The weight, man. What are you doing? So, I don't know, maybe his foot slipped off the pedals or something and he couldn't put his foot on the brake. But so he gave me a kill there, and I appreciate it. And now that snowball effect is happening. We were kind of even teams, but now you can see there's only 4 of them left. And he is getting hit by multiple greens. That Martyr 2 is an unhappy red. So now he's pretty much hugging that house over there because he doesn't really have much choice. And this light tank is trying to nail my light tank, and I am not going to have any of that. So we put a stop to that nonsense right quick. Now there's a TD over there that I am going to try to get there as fast as I can. Now this is what I mean. It says 30 kilometers per hour, but this is rough terrain with little ups and downs, and I'm hovering around 30 and exceeding 30 at times. It's not bad. I like how, I mean, yes, it goes slower, you know, like everybody else as you go up and down hills, but precision, nice. But it has a quick acceleration. I'm really happy with that. What I forgot to mention, or what I should mention to you right now is, and I didn't show it to you because, you know, your time is important to me, but this is the setup that I ended up going with. Speaking of treads, as I said to myself, look, what am I going to need? I don't really need to mess with the aim time or the reload. Not that you can mess with the reload anyway, as far as equipment is concerned. So what else is available? I'm not going to go with spall liner. I'm not going to go with, you know, anything else. But wait a minute. If I need to move around, side scrape, and whatnot, and based on my experience with the, you know, using this tank, you know what? I'm going to protect the treads more. So I went with the suspension. So basically, I'm running with the vents, the suspension, and the monoculars. And you know, having been rammed and shot at, I think that not that I was having problems getting tracked, but I think it helped a lot. So so far it is the combination that I'm sticking with. All right, so I see the silver, I see the experience, not too shabby, but now I want to be reminded of the actual post-game statistics here. Okay, so it's 4. So 4 tanks were put down. 19 penetrating hits, and that always makes me laugh. 40 shots fired, 21 penetrations. I'm no scientist, but to me it looks like you're dealing with about a 50% penetration rate, based on the way I'm using it, you know. So not bad. It was a good way to end the night. This was the 11th game, and yeah, it was good times. It's a fun tank. All right, let's take a look at this real quick before you go. I don't know why I didn't think about using this before, but it kind of dawned on me. You know, here you can see, proofs in the pudding, 11 games. I probably owned it for, what, 2 hours, hour and 45 minutes or so at this point. Looks like my percentage is 55%. 17 destroyed, shows you the experience. Max experience per battle. The hit ratio is 74%. So does that tell me that this this tank is pretty darn accurate? Used the way I was using it? I guess so. Seems pretty cool. Kill death ratio, I'm okay with that. So, I mean, you know, look at those numbers, look at the things earned. I think that if you use this tank the way it's supposed to be used, like any other tank, but especially with this tank, don't go hull down, side scrape, use your ammunition correctly. Actually, I'm going to have to promote, you know, premium ammunition more in this tank than normal. Learn when to use premium and when not to, and you'll maximize your silver profits. With all that said, I think that you would have a lot of fun with this tank. So if you are interested in this tank, and I hope I answered some of your questions, you got a feel for it, then by all means, go ahead and pick it up, and maybe we'll platoon sometime. All right, well, take it easy. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Take care.